You're listening to That's Pretty Dark,
the podcast where we talk about all of the entertainment that scared us as children
and still haunts us as adults. So grab your flashlight and join us as we take a frightfully nostalgic look over our shoulders.
And under our beds.
And in our closets.
And together we'll realize, whoa, that's pretty dark.
That's pretty dark. Boy, it's hot.
It's hot in here.
Oh, God.
Welcome to That's Pretty Dark.
I'm not wearing any pants. Woo.
I am. So at least 50% of us are wearing pants.
Yeah, we are.
today.
We are video chatting while we do this. So we have.
I did not know you weren't wearing pants.
We have to be clothed, but that's fine because I'm in my Zoom meeting, like attire. I got a shirt on.
Just a shirt.
So that's good.
Okay, good.
I'm wearing underwear.
Okay.
I have to have something between me
I'm glad that you
and my leather office chair, or I'll just be like,
yeah, that's gross.
Just sticking to it. Yeah.
Gross.
You know, life's hard.
What are you? Did I interrupt you? Were you on that train
I just
still?
had a bit, but you ruined the whole thing.
Oh, damn. Sorry. I'll try not to do that again. Because that was definitely a bit everyone wanted to hear.
I'm working
about
on
you slurping around in your office chair.
Working on my comedy routine, okay? Look, I'm going to start doing stand-up. You know I can do some stand-up.
We've discussed this. We've talked about writing it.
Awesome edit. I have so many good ideas. You ever see those dads in grocery stores?
Dude, I still remember talking about that. He has a great bit, guys. One day you'll hear it.
Yeah, this is just the start. All right, so we have
this is like a 5-year-old stand-up comedy plan.
A childhood horror podcast that is a combination of, children's entertainment mixed with home improvement, home ownership, and
stand-up comedy.
I'm gonna be workshopping my stand-up.
Yeah, you guys are really in for a treat.
Audience of one.
Oh, man.
So I'm kicking back. I got some crispy boys. I'm just
crispy
slurping.
Boy. I'm still drinking my lemon water for the mucus in my throat and in my brain, as I mentioned earlier.
That sounds tasty. You're gonna flush out your esophagus.
That's all of it. And it all needs some flushing.
Everything needs a good flush.
Sometimes just needs a good old-fashioned flush.
Somebody flush out my memory and my
that
life.
too. Dude, same. Just zap it. Men in Black.
Well, this is going to be a 4.5-hour episode.
Yeah, welcome to it.
Buckle into your new nightmare.
I keep trying to introduce the podcast, and we keep getting derailed by comedy.
What podcast is this?
This podcast is called That's Pretty Dark.
So you're Kaylin.
I'm Kaylin. You're Christian.
I am. Born and raised.
We're here to talk with you today about Are You Afraid of the Dark? Season 1, episode 5.
Mm-hmm. We were just discussing how rough this episode is.
Yeah, it's called The Tale of the Hungry Hounds. And
somebody's got to feed the hams.
Yeah,
Them hams are hungry.
I don't know. We'll let you guys make your own judgments about it, but I will tell you, I'm going to scroll ahead in my notes real quick to inform you. This episode happens to be the lowest rated of the season on IMDb with a 7.3 average user rating, which still doesn't sound that bad, but when you compare it to the others, which are like 9s, pretty much all the way through. This episode's different.
Just a bunch of 9s.
If you haven't seen it in a long time, this will probably be pretty funny to you.
I hope so. It's hilarious, actually. I laughed through it.
Yeah,
there were some good moments.
Sure. There were some good moments, but I definitely laughed at this episode more than I have at the others. So that is something it has going for it.
But to put it into perspective for all of you adults listening, it's like, you're going out, you got a night in the town. You're going to go to the bar. You're looking to meet some cute singles.
Okay.
You walk into a bar, and it's full of 9s.
Okay. All right. This is where you're rating women now.
No, you could be talking about dudes. I didn't say women.
You're right.
I said cuties.
Okay.
Looking for some cuties. It could be anything.
Any gender.
Any pronoun you want.
Yeah. The whole spectrum. There are cuties on the whole spectrum.
If you see the club full of 9s and you see a 7.3, just over in the corner.
You're going to notice the 7.3.
Yeah, but not in a good way. Not
you're going to notice me.
God, you're at least a 7.4.
Okay. I mean, I would take a 7.4, honestly.
At least.
But it depends on the room I'm in, because it's just like people say, like in LA, I'd be like a 2, but in Alabama, I'm an 8, and I feel like that's kind of me. So
that's not real. But this, the 7.3 in the corner isn't just the cool loner, the lone wolf, if you will, the lone hungry hound in the corner. They're like the person who's awkwardly dancing by themselves, just looking at the ceiling.
I mean, you're just describing a wallflower. That's
feeling
not necessarily
music.
A weird person.
But then you look over and he's just staring at you.
Ew. Okay.
There we go. He's dancing to the music by himself, but he's looking you dead in the eye.
Oh, no.
That's that's this episode. We've arrived.
Okay, that is it. Yeah, I'm getting mental images that I do not like.
Right, well, I've served my purpose. I'm going to go. You talk about the episode.
Yeah, I'll just tell him. So thanks for that.
I'm going to go turn my AC on and relax.
Yeah, enjoy the air conditioning, and I will continue to suffer in the silent heat.
All right, so take it away.
So yeah, like we said, we're talking about the Tale of the Hungry Hounds today.
All right, NPR.
So the episode, it originally aired on SNCC on September 12th, 1992.
Oh, I didn't get the air date for my last one. God.
Oh, man. See, I'm more
worst.
professional than you.
You're better at this than I am.
It was directed by DJ McHale, and it was written by DJ McHale and Ann Appleton, and she wrote 2 other episodes, but I couldn't like find a lot about her online, so I keep doing the thing, because now that we know that DJ has a pen name that's kind of feminine, I keep wondering, like, do you just have a bunch of alter egos, or like what's the deal?
Right.
But
so nothing on IMDb?
Yeah, couldn't find much about this Ann Appleton, but she did write 2 other episodes of Are You Afraid of the Dark? So
sounds like a fake name.
I know,
Ann
right?
Appleton. No one's named that.
Sorry, Ann, if you're listening.
Appleton.
Do you want me to hit you with the IMDb summary of the episode? Would you like to know?
I would love nothing more at this moment.
I thought you wanted to know, because we know how great the IMDb can summarize things.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I mean, it's pretty dead on.
Can't wait to hear what that paid intern wrote about this episode 30 years ago.
So the IMDb summary is 2 girls go to an attic where one of them tries on a uniform that belonged to a dead relative where her spirit lives on.
You know, I gotta say, I have a lot of family heirlooms and like relics and stuff.
You do actually, yeah.
Family made furniture, like actual hand carved wooden pieces of furniture. I have like my grandmother's coffee table, my great grandmother's dining room table.
Wow.
I also have a lot of clothing pieces from like my dad, but also my uncle, who's dead.
Yeah.
I have like jackets in particular from my uncle. And I just, I can't stand it. Sometimes I put the jacket on and I just like get possessed by my uncle.
Oh, man. Yeah, I wondered if that happened to you.
God, I hate when that happens. I hate that.
Isn't it the worst?
It's like...
You just can't wear the jacket, like, as Christian.
It's like, relax, Tommy.
Yeah, I love my dead uncle, but he didn't give me any jackets.
So what's your summary? Now that I've ruined it.
No, that wasn't ruining it. You gave us a very personal... Yeah, you gave us a very personal look at your life.
You got more coming to you.
The IMDb description on this episode is very no-nonsense. I can't really argue with it, but I personally described the episode as a country cousin and her incredibly whiny city counterpart explore a decades-old gripe between some hungry hunting dogs and their deceased aunt. Oh, and there's the mention of horseback riding also. Yes. That's the summary.
It is so out of left field, isn't it? It doesn't
it really
apply.
Is.
It doesn't apply at all. I mean,
they just needed it too. Like they needed a vehicle. We'll talk about it. We'll get to it. But
God, can you do the summaries from now on, please?
Hey, you do yours. You do your thing. I'll do mine. If in the end we end up together,
we'll both do summaries. Our own summary for every episode. Is that too much to ask?
No, I mean, I guess not. Yeah, I could do a summary for yours.
I guess it's fair.
We can let the people vote on who they like better.
Yours is gonna win every time.
Oh man, the people being like my dad.
Well, you've already won.
Yeah, true. Actually,
even my dad will vote for you.
That's what I'll achieve.
Yeah, this is one of the least well put together episodes. If you ask me.
It just
story structure.
There's just there's a lot going on.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
And I will say, so it's called The Tale of the Hungry Hounds, right? And like looking at the title, I'm like, oh no, because I love dogs. I'm a cat person and a dog person. I don't discriminate against animals. I love all of them just to pieces.
Love animals, not in pieces.
Not in pieces, 2 pieces.
Not
very
even
big
2
difference.
pieces, right? That's a little bit much.
But the thing is, the idea of hellhounds, though, like absolutely terrify me.
See, when you hear Hungry Hounds, that's where you think this episode's going.
Exactly. Hellhounds, really, in particular, I don't jive with the idea. It just frightens me very much.
Yeah.
I didn't sleep for days after I watched season 2, episode 8 of Supernatural, which, I mean, I was at least 20 years old at this point, and it's still
got you that bad.
It really did. Like, I dare you, go watch it. Oh my God.
I've seen it.
But in this, you've seen it? Okay, good.
Yeah, it's scary.
For anybody that doesn't know, in that episode, there are these like small town folks that are selling their soul to the devil and at this crossroads, and then when the bargain's up, basically, they're then tracked down and eaten alive by literal hellhounds.
Yeah.
Dogs from hell.
From where?
from hell.
Oh, hellhounds? Got it.
Hell. They're hellhounds.
H-E double haka
Those
sticks.
damn hellhounds. That's where they're from, is hell.
Damn
But-
hell? Hounds?
It is really terrifying.
It is.
I didn't have any like memories of this Are You Afraid of the Dark episode, like watching it as a kid or anything.
It's a forgetful one.
Yeah. And I will say also that I'm like a chronic rewatcher. Like I rewatch things obsessively all the time. I'm always rewatching something that I've already seen. Even if I'm watching something new, I always fall back on something that I know.
Yeah.
But I have never been able to rewatch that episode of Supernatural. Just
Really?
fun fact. Yeah. Can't do it.
I get that. I have things like that.
So the Are You Afraid of the Dark episode opens around the Midnight Society campfire, as usual. And Kiki and Betty Ann are like breaking sticks for kindling. They're getting ready to start the fire. And then they get startled. Yeah! Oh, there it is! Oh, what do you hear? What is that sound? They're startled by this howling sound in the woods. And then it turns out that it's just the boys, and they're spooking them.
Yeah.
So they come up and they pick on the girls for being afraid. And then I think this is now the second time that we maybe 3 chicken sounds.
I was going to say, yeah, this is the moment. They started
Yeah.
doing the clucking. They're like,
We get our clucking.
no dogs, just chickens or whatever.
So this is like 3 or 4 times now. We need to get better at this if we're going to actually count it. We should count it. But yeah, 3 or 4 times. And then our hero Gary comes bearing firewood so that the girls can like not have to work so hard. And then he's like, oh, let me do it. And I'm kind of like, And then David asks where Kristen is.
Of course.
And because he's in love with her. We learned this last episode.
Did I scare her off with my locket?
He needs to know. And I mean, I understand. I'd be worried too. That's my crush,
I get it. She at 9.
But he asks where she is, and Kiki says, oh, I bet she shows up when all the work is done. That way she won't break a fingernail. This is Kiki that's speaking. I mean, like, I hate to admit it, but I was a tomboy growing up too, and I was kind of like that.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of spoke like that, talked like that. But right now, in this moment, as an adult watching it, it is just painful internalized misogyny.
Yeah, I know.
And then Gary's like, oh, I guess we need, because, Kristen's not there.
Yeah, he's like, we need a rule for these latecomers or whatever he says.
Yeah. And at that moment, I felt kind of attacked, and I was like, I mean, I've always wanted to be in the Midnight Society, but I don't think you or I would be able to be in the Midnight Society should they make that a real rule.
I was late to recording today.
Twice, technically speaking.
Yeah.
You bumped the time, and then we're late to the time that you bumped it to.
Dude.
And I mean, I'm late to everything. So
that's what I did. It's my move. I keep them waiting, You got to keep your audience.
The fashionable.
waiting.
Yeah, you really love the making the entrance. Except you kind of hate making an entrance, so I don't know. And I'm the same way.
It's not intentional.
No.
I play it off as though it's intentional, but it's not.
Chronically late as people, both of us.
Yeah.
But then as we're waiting for Kristen, we hear another like distant howl. And so then Betty Ann's like, what's that? And then Frank's like, oh, it sounds like a hound dog. And we're like, oh, okay, foreshadowing. Mm-hmm. And then Eric's like, Kristen's no dog.
Yeah,
and
I know,
like,
yeah.
Oh, okay, are you complimenting her? Wow, what a compliment.
Like, Kristen ain't no dog.
The bar is on the floor, ladies. The bar is on the floor. So as they're like pondering this moment, a hound dog does indeed emerge from the woods, and Kristen has brought him from the woods. It's her dog, and she says that his name is Elvis.
Fitting.
And then somebody's like, oh, you nothing but a hound dog. And then it's kind of funny because it's like, I wondered if kids today would catch on to that immediately. Like, do kids know that song? I feel like most do, but still.
Yeah.
Maybe not as commonly as we did.
Hound dog, yeah.
But I mean, an Elvis reference in the 90s isn't that far off.
It's not that far removed. We definitely
people
knew.
still know Elvis, but do kids know,
I don't know
that
if, like,
song?
quote unquote kids know Elvis.
Anyway.
But so somebody's like, my dad says Elvis is king.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. It's just like, oh, okay. The writers of this.
I forget who said that, but I was like, oh, it was Betty Ann.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, just give her a line of dialogue. Great. Thank you.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Thanks for making her relevant.
And the writers of this episode just seem to like Elvis.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kristen brings the dog, and we learned that she's this week's storyteller, and she brought Elvis to provide some sound effects, which I thought was funny. Mm-hmm. She's a pro move, practical sound effects. Kristen's got them.
Got to.
And so she then sprinkles the midnight dust, and we enter the story world, as we do.
Every time. Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society. I call this story The Tale of the Hungry Hounds.
And I think we mentioned, that although maybe we didn't discuss it at the very beginning, but each of the Midnight Society members have kind of themes in the first season to their stories.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to note that Kristen's stories, they're usually about ghosts who have unfinished business and ghosts that are using mortals to like complete unfinished business. And that's like a common theme with Kristen's stories.
Nice.
So you're about to hear all about it. All about these
all
ghosts.
About that.
So we meet then like our story characters, and we are introduced to Pam, and they basically say she's like a teenager who likes to explore her hoarder mom's attic when it's raining. And then again with the cousin coming to town, her city cousin Amy has come to visit.
So like you got the city cousin and the country cousin. Right?
Exactly, yeah. I feel like so many things in the 90s made things like city mouse, country mouse. Like that was just a very easy.
Cousins are like, they're still close enough to be relevant to the story and the situation, but they're still removed enough that they're not like your sibling. They don't know everything you would know.
Right.
But they still know a lot of the stuff you know. It's kind of like the perfect combination.
Yeah, it's a good device.
You can explain enough to the audience without having to over-explain to a stranger.
Yes. Over-explain to a stranger or sound stupid explaining it to a sibling or somebody that knows better.
Exactly.
So yeah.
I think it's a brilliant move involving the cousin.
Yeah. That's definitely a middle ground, like good middle ground for the audience sake anyway.
Once again, we've got like sort of stylish fashionista cousin.
Yes.
And super homey, modest cousin. I feel like they do that more with girls than with dudes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They don't differentiate. Guys are all the same.
Dressed the same, always.
Yeah.
But the girls, they have to define you
by your
specifically
appearance.
By your appearance.
Doesn't that suck? And I mean, it was true, is true.
I'm noticing it.
I'm glad that you're noticing it because this is the world that, that I grew up in fully. And I mean, even as a kid, like I said, I was kind of a tomboy. I didn't really care what I wore or what I did. I was always in just baggy t-shirts and, I grew up at the height of purity culture also. So it's like ultra modest is hottest type of garbage, just defining you by your appearance constantly 24/7. And you're meant to always be aware of how you look and what you look like, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. I definitely am off on a tangent, but
no, I mean, this is
women are defined by their appearance, and it starts when they are mere children. Okay. So I'll take a second to say that Pam was played by Mia Krishner. And she's apparently had a pretty exciting career, even though I didn't immediately recognize her. She's got a bunch of credits, but she played Mandy in 24, which I really liked that show.
Oh, wow.
At the time. Yeah. And she played Jenny on The L Word, and she was Isabel in The Vampire Diaries. So she's been in some big name shows.
Okay. Yeah.
And she was also briefly on Star Trek Discovery.
All right.
And I have not seen it, and I'm sure it's important to many people, so I will cease discussing it because I don't want to get anything wrong. And then Pam's cousin Amy is played by Jennifer Gula, who had a smattering of TV and voice credits.
Smattering.
In the early 90s. Yeah, nothing really that stood out to me, but still a couple other credits.
Yeah.
So Pam, in this world of our story, she's making herself busy, digging through her family's artifacts in their attic. And she's trying on her grandfather's wedding suit. And then she says that her parents were just a twinkle in his eye at the time. And then mentions also her late Aunt Dora, who was the oldest. So it's like they hit you right up front with, this is the family hierarchy. This is what's going on. And then Pam calls for Amy to come check out the suit. And she calls for her a couple times and she's not coming. So then we hear this voice disembodied from the other side of the room. And then we see that there's this ghostly woman approaching in a wedding dress. She's kind of floating. Yeah. And she's standing near the window and she says, "Hello, Charles." And she's commenting on wedding things and wedding guests. And Pam's like, "Okay, this isn't funny." It's standard exactly.
Yeah, right.
We talked about this before in the previous
Come
episode.
on, you guys.
Come on, it's not funny. You're not scaring me, when it probably is a little bit unnerving. And then Amy reveals herself. And she's like, "Give me a break. You don't believe in ghosts, do you?"
A constant thing.
Yeah. And then Pam just replies by misquoting Hamlet and says, "There are more things on heaven and earth than that you could dream of." That's what she says.
Well, she's a kid, man. She's not going to quote it perfectly. Not like Hill House,
Yeah. And I mean, I don't think she's passing her 9th grade lit class right now.
Horatio.
Yes, it is quoted in Hill House.
I always appreciate the reference. I mean,
Same.
It's a great quote. I
like
it.
when they reference literature. And this is probably that
Hamlet.
same.
Yeah.
Me too. And it's probably the same idea still, that they want to add this flavor taste of educational
Mhm.
content
Ooh, yeah.
to make it seem elevated for parents to be okay with a scary show for kids.
Yeah, she explains where it's from and like why it's relevant. And it's still spooky because it's like, yeah, well, his dad's ghost, It's like, oh, spooky. All right, maybe I should read Hamlet. It's about
Right.
ghosts.
And it's a familial ghost too.
Yeah, so people are
Yeah.
like, okay, dope.
Bless her. But she
I mean, that makes me want to read Hamlet.
Same. Love Shakespeare.
Understatement of the millennia.
So Amy. Oh, sorry, you had something.
No, I was gonna say, do you think it was important or cool or somewhere in between that she was dressing up in the suit,
Oh yeah, I did.
the wedding suit? You thought it was
I noticed that. I was like, okay, but it was also like it's still that very much like tomboy versus feminine
very specific
energy
Yeah.
thing. And they subtly still do it where it's like the smarter, more put together cousin has masculine features and
Yeah.
the less put together, meaner, more whatever flighty cousin has the
Way
feminine
more
features.
feminine. Yeah, I noticed
Yeah.
that too. That's why I was asking. I was like,
Yeah.
it's a distinction that you get immediately, but
Mhm.
it's not.
If something's
it's
good,
not-
it's masculine. Of course. It can't be good and be feminine.
Yeah, she's the intelligent one. It can't be. Yeah, the intelligent, strong female. It's got to be
Yeah.
like you have to be more masculine.
You have to be more masculine. Yeah.
It's crazy. I don't. It bothers me, but whatever.
Oh, me too.
I just thought it was interesting, fun to point out. But
Mhm.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
so-
it goes right into that whole idea that we were noting earlier, noticing.
Yeah.
But then of course Amy's like, I don't believe in ghosts. And then as she says that, there's this bump in the attic and this suitcase like topples over and all these papers and photographs come like spilling out of it.
Yeah.
And Amy reaches in and pulls out a photo of like a girl and her horse. And she's like, oh, I didn't know you could ride. And then Pam is like, well, I can't. My mom won't let me. That's Aunt Dora and her horse, Mirage, which I like the horse's name. I thought that was great. Mirage.
It's a good name for a horse.
Or a cat. I love the idea of a cat named
Ooh.
Mirage.
that's pretty good too.
Right? I would, if I, next cat I get one day.
Third cat.
Ooh, third cat.
Mirage.
I've always also loved the idea of naming a cat Gracie, like Master Gracie from the Haunted Mansion.
Oh, of course.
Maybe Mirage and Gracie. So, now that you know what my cat name preferences are.
At least you're not naming your children.
True that. But Amy is like, if just to drive it home for the audience a little bit more, Amy's like, oh, Aunt Dora looks a lot like you, Pam. Like, you guys look a lot alike. So they hear another noise and then they go to investigate and they pull out the old trunk, this big, like, beautiful old antique trunk. And it has Dora's name engraved on it with the year 1963.
You of our Lord.
And the trunk is, like, locked with a combination. But they notice, like, a hole on the side, like maybe a mouse chewed through or something.
Did you notice, like, where the hole was specifically?
No.
It was, like, not just in the wood in the side of this chest, but, like, through the metal banding. And I was like,
yeah, this mouse is chewing through metal.
I mean, rats can do that, but come on.
Right. Yeah, that's way too convenient.
But also, they never really explain what the hole. I mean, it was a mouse
Yeah,
hole.
that's true.
That was it.
It had to have been, yeah.
If your option is wood or metal, I think you're gonna just pick the wood. But anyway, I digress.
Whatever.
Whatever.
So they notice this mouse hole, and then Pam like doesn't want to open it. And Pam says that her mom says that you should let the dead rest in peace, which is very like
So on the nose.
yeah, really on the nose with the writing here.
Yeah, it was very, very much, yes.
Should let the dead rest in peace. And then like this voice calls them from downstairs and telling Pam like she needs to go feed the dog.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah. And I mean, okay, like I have a note here. I was just talking kind of about how I haven't ever, you talked about having like your family heirlooms and stuff.
Mhm.
Like I've never really had an attic to like rummage through or anything like that. But in 2019, my grandfather and my uncle both passed away, and he had been sick for a long time and not really able to do much. But during COVID, I helped my parents kind of go and say goodbye to the house and clean it out because my dad was going to sell it.
Yeah.
It is wild to open like a cabinet or a drawer or open a closet or whatever and just know that that's been there since like 1980 and nobody's touched it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like anytime that you disturb something that has not been disturbed in decades, there's like this weird sacredness to it.
Really
Even
is,
if it's just like a board game in a closet.
There's something about it, yeah.
Something about it. It's just this weird, like you're interacting with the past in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So I do get that. Like,
yeah, you feel like it has the same energy that it used to have. Like it's
right.
still,
and you
it's still
know that they were
present.
the last person to touch. Somebody that the last person to touch it is likely not alive.
Right.
So there's just something about that.
Yeah, that's
the person
powerful.
that put this here, it doesn't exist anymore in our world. So,
But energy can't be created or destroyed.
that's right. It's got to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So we join like Amy and Pam again on this dirt road. And Amy, the city cousin, is complaining about, I can't believe I have to spend my entire summer here. Like, what do you do for fun anyway? Like, just the city mouse, country mouse.
It's a nice reverse on the last episode where
that's true.
Spending your summer with the cousin, you had to see from the outsider perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And now we've reversed it.
That's true.
So you're seeing the cousin that's being visited, but it's still the same person. It's still the same.
It's still the same character.
The intelligent tomboy.
Yes.
Is still the one.
Intelligent tomboy is the protagonist, and the antagonist is the...
Yeah, they just swapped places.
They just swapped places. Yeah, one of them in the last episode, that was the owner of the home, or the resident of the home.
Right.
And it's flipped this time.
So yeah, she's all complaining.
Yeah. And so she's like, what do you do for fun? And then Pam's like, oh, I'll show you. Like, but you got to promise not to tell, basically.
You want to see some fun?
Yeah.
Do you want to see something fun? I'll show you something fun.
So she takes her to this pasture where there's this horse, like a black horse, like grazing in the pasture. And Pam explains that his owners are away in the city.
God.
They keep referencing the city. Away in the city, and they're
out in Ontario.
Yeah, exactly. And they only come to visit him on weekends. And so then she just like yanks a carrot out of her pocket, like totally normal, because then she's carrying it with her.
I almost
her
forgot.
Mom would never suspect.
Good thing I keep this carrot in my pocket.
Yep, my snacking carrot. You never know when you might need one.
In case I meet Bugs Bunny, and be prepared.
And so she calls the horse over with this carrot. And it's funny, something about this made me laugh out loud, because Amy is like, so he's like a big dog, so what? I'm like, okay, right. Number one, you've never seen a horse before, or even if you have, like, why is that what you say? Why are those your words?
Well, she says, does it bite?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know what it is?
Yeah. Like,
it's not like you're meeting like a camel.
Right. It's not a foreign animal. Like,
you can meet.
We all know horses say neigh, and we learned that when we're like 2 years old.
Yeah. What sound does the horse make? Bark, bark.
Yeah, I feel like it was funny. So it's like a big dog. So what? Like, she's not impressed because it's like a big dog. And I think it was just another excuse for the writers to say the word dog.
To tie in the word dog, yeah.
Yeah.
And how can let's make the horse relevant. We'll just call it a big dog.
I have in my notes. I had it in my notes where I'm like, not sure what Amy means by this. It's a horse, Amy.
No.
That's all I got for you.
You idiot.
It's a horse.
This is a horse. It's an average sized horse, not a big dog, you moron.
Like, I don't... Yeah, why is that your frame of reference?
An even bigger cat.
That's what it's more like. So Pam, like, climbs up on the fence, and she starts to, like, mount the horse. And then in the moment where she's beginning to mount the horse, we hear this loud, like, angry car horn honking.
Yep.
And so it startles the horse, and so Pam stumbles down, and then Pam's mom, gets out of her car and rushes over, and she tells Pam, like, I told you to never go near them, they're dangerous. And I'm just kind of like, okay, lady, tell me why you, like, knowingly honked a loud horn when you knew your daughter was, like, getting on top of a 1,000-pound animal. Like, if you're so worried about how dangerous they are.
They can get spooked, and they can run off, and you can fall off. But I'm going to spook it real quick so you can fall off of it and show you how dangerous it is.
Yeah, I guess it was proving a point or something.
I don't think so, but...
I shouldn't give it that much credit. It was silly to me that she, like, beep, 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 like, scared the horse.
Just in the nick of time, that horse almost ate that little girl. Thank God her mom was there.
Yeah, right? What would she have done without that loud horn honking?
Yeah, I've seen a horse eat a child in the Brothers Grimm movie. It's not pretty.
Yeah.
It sucked.
I don't want to see a horse eat anything, really, but particularly a child.
I like that movie, but it's a terrible movie. Anyway, continue.
So Pam is just, like, upset now, and she's like, horses wouldn't be dangerous if I knew how to ride, and she, like, wants to take lessons, and I think it would be dangerous either way if you're going to drive up to it and honk a horn.
Yeah.
Like, I think that doesn't matter whether you have lessons or don't.
It's like pointing a gun at somebody and pulling the trigger and being like, well, it wouldn't be so dangerous if I just knew how to shoot a gun.
Yeah, whatever,
Mom. Get out of here, Mom.
Come on, Mom. But the mom's like, no, and I wish you wouldn't bring up the subject again.
Yeah.
And she's like, Mom, it was 30 years ago. Her mom says, seems like yesterday to me.
Yeah.
But then I'm reminded, I don't know if we just jumped time or something, but I thought her mom was at home telling her to feed the dogs. So where's mom been? Was she at home? Was this a ghost that talked to Pam and Amy?
Yeah, we did have like a time jump. It's sort of
We don't know if it's the same moment.
It could be
same day,
it could be the next day. It could be,
yeah,
whatever.
So then, and I think this may be the next day, I don't know, but they didn't, we don't see them go eat dinner. Instead, we cut to this picnic table where they're outside and there's a Ouija board. Ooh.
Oh yeah, where the hell did all these board games and this Ouija board? She carried a stack of board games to this table outside. In the middle of nowhere.
And I think it's meant to illustrate, like, okay, all that there is to do is play boring board games, like, whatever.
Yeah, they're doing this in the broad daylight in the middle of nowhere. You got to do the Ouija board in the attic.
I know. I've never seen anybody use a Ouija board out in the sunlight before.
It bothered me so much. I was like, this is not scary. Unless somebody said, this is too scary.
Maybe.
Let's move it.
Let's make it less scary.
Move it out to the pasture where the big dog is.
I was more worried, or not worried, but more like, is this just meant to be a trope? Like, we need to insert something scary. Here's a Ouija board because they're supposed to be scary.
Maybe.
Like, just the sight of this will be spooky.
Yeah, it was a little bit silly. But if you're going to do it right.
Agreed. But Amy's complaining, of course, about how boring the games are. And she's like, what are we going to do next, Jethro? Shuck some corn? Obviously, she's referring to the Beverly Hillbillies. Mm-hmm. But it's like another reference that I have. I think that one in particular, I don't think kids would catch it today. But I did as a child. We did as children.
Yeah.
Time frame, just different.
The reference would be lost, but I still think it's funny. I think Jethro being a pretty archaic name, kids would probably go like, oh, that's funny. That's kind of a country, old school, archaic, Amish type name.
They'd get there, even if it wasn't the same place that our minds would go.
I think kids would get it. I think they'd be like, oh, okay.
And then I also wondered, like, why not just call her Ellie Mae? Because she's a girl. But no, they gave her
the man's name.
They called her Jethro. Got it. I don't know. Weird.
Gotta make her seem intelligent. Gotta make her a man. Men are
smarter
than women.
Way smarter than women.
I mean, I'm way smarter than you, clearly.
Of course, yeah. That's a given.
It's pretty obvious.
Can't even say it with a straight face.
Where's the beer?
Hurry up.
I should have grabbed one while I was out.
Second beer. Oh my god, yeah, you just left.
Third beer, actually.
Oh, third beer. Third beer Christian.
Third beer Christian's the best Christian.
He's a fun one.
I like that guy.
So they're playing with the Ouija board outside, and Amy's, unimpressed. And Pam exclaims that, like, her mom and Dora used to play with the Ouija board when they were kids, and then she found it in the attic, and explains how the spirits are, like, I guess explains a Ouija board for anybody that doesn't know what a Ouija board is, kids maybe at the time. Explain that spirits are supposed to give them messages from the other world. Yeah, exposition.
I like it.
Then I immediately was like, what happened to, like, let the dead rest in peace, Mom? Like, I thought that was your, like, philosophy on life. But apparently you used to play with a Ouija board. You used to play with a Ouija board as a child, but okay, all right, people, maybe you learned, maybe you changed your mind, I don't know.
You're right.
And I will insert the fact that I never plan to play with a Ouija board. I never have before. Same. And I never will. I won't. Simply refuse. I love the idea of it and the concept of it, but the, like, practice of it absolutely just is a big, big no for me.
Yeah, there's always the kid that's like, I don't know about this, guys. What if it's, what if it's not, what if it's something else? She says that. What if it's something else? Mm-hmm. Like in the actual chest, I believe.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there's a certain kind of like ghost lore or spirit lore or something. I just feel like there are certain doors that shouldn't be opened.
Mm-hmm. I've just never seen anything good come from a Ouija board.
I've never seen anything bad either. Not in real life.
I mean, not in real life.
But I've heard a lot of stories.
Same.
Of things that weren't there until the Ouija board was messed with, and then things were there afterward. True. That didn't want to leave because they were welcomed inside. It's that vampire lore.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to welcome it.
You welcomed it. You said yes, or you.
And you don't have to say, "Oh yeah, come on, live inside my house with me.
Mm-mm.
Live here." You don't have to say that.
Nope.
It can be a simple action like playing with the Ouija board.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I absolutely love haunted things, obviously, as you guys have heard and just been, very thoroughly informed of by now. Like, love all of it. But that's a line that I can't bring myself to cross personally. So if you have a wild Ouija board story, tell us.
Please.
Please.
Educate us.
Would love to hear. Yeah, educate us who are completely, non-users.
We're non-users.
We're
We
non-users.
say no to Ouija
We
boards.
say no to Ouija boards. So we would love to hear your experiences. If you
Yeah.
do not find that to be the case, or if you do, let us know. That's prettydarkpodcast@gmail.com.
Boom.
Yeah. So Amy is like, okay, fine. And they both grab the planchette and we get like the movement begins. And every single time that I've ever seen a Ouija board used in any media ever, they're like, you're doing this, right?
Yeah.
But the planchette moves and the board spells let me out.
Mhm. You can see the muscles in their hands like flexing, like they're trying to move it.
Yes.
It's like,
Yep.
it's not even like convincing. It's like, okay, they're moving.
No, there was not even any fishing wire
They're moving it. Yeah. All right.
in this one.
So funny.
I think it's Amy that says it. She's like, maybe it's that rodent calling from Aunt Dora's box.
Aunt Dora's box sounds like Pandora's box.
It does, doesn't it? I thought that too. I have it written down. It says it right there. Pandora's box. Silly.
Same brain wave
Same brainwave.
length.
And the board then spells out 149. And so we're all like, okay, that must be the combination to the lock. Pam is now like really spooked and doesn't want to be exploring this, even though she was really gung-ho for playing with the Ouija board just a minute ago. So they go up to the attic and they open the box, and then there's this puff of dust, and it reveals as they open it, all of Aunt Dora's riding clothes, like horse riding clothes and gear. And they comment, like, it looks like they never washed it after the last time she wore it. And honestly, I think that has to be some part of the magic.
Yeah.
In this realm, in this story, like in this universe, it feels
It's
like
left untouched.
because they didn't wash it, that is why it is the way that it is.
Did you notice when she was doing the combination on the lock?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing about 149 on that lock.
I didn't see it.
Nothing at all.
Aw, bummer.
She
come
ended
on.
up landing on number, from my memory, I think it was like number 54.
It would have been so easy
I
to just
know.
make it. But I mean, they probably filmed on different, whatever.
Or they just,
Whatever.
come on, script supervisor.
Yeah, if they were going to go to the trouble to name numbers, like, how hard would it have been? Whatever.
Mm.
So Pam, who, is spooked and doesn't seem to want to do this, is suddenly no longer afraid of it and pulls out the riding jacket and puts it on. And then she seems kind of, dare I say, possessed.
Yeah.
And she looks in the mirror and she kind of smirks. And then her hair is down all of a sudden. And just to drive it home, then she walks over. This very weird fantasy nighttime moment. It's nighttime. I should have mentioned that.
All of a sudden, it's nighttime.
Yeah, just out of nowhere.
Because she's like, nighttime? It's not nighttime.
Yeah.
She like says it.
It's not supposed to be nighttime. And Pam walks over to the window and she follows Pam out this window. I'm trying to describe this the best I can, but really it just threw me for a loop when I saw it too. And I had to laugh.
It was wild.
Very
It was
wild. So the window becomes this giant, like, round portal that they step through.
It's very stage play-esque.
Yes. Oh, yes. Very much like a stage
I felt
play.
like I was in an audience watching something that was really brilliantly done on a stage.
Mm-hmm.
But in the show, I was like, okay.
Yeah. It didn't really fit for TV, but I agree. And on a stage play, I would have been okay with it. So yeah, in this moment, just total break from reality,
This
right?
big window opens.
Nighttime, this giant window then opens,
Yeah.
and there's this like swirling fog outside, and then there's this ornate staircase that leads down from the window as if from heaven. And so they walk out the window and down the stairs, and Amy follows Pam, who is not acting like Pam anymore, into the woods that are near the house. Amy's still trying to talk to Pam as Pam, trying to say, like, I mean, it must be time for dinner. Like, don't you have to feed the dog or something? They do it again. Just boop, right on the nose. Boop,
Another
boop,
reference.
the nose.
Boop. Boop in the nose.
Don't you have to feed the dog or something?
Boop.
So in that moment, I don't think I would have asked Pam, like, don't you have to feed the dog? I think I would say, where the hell did the giant staircase come from?
What's happening?
I think I would have other questions to ask.
She actually was making me laugh, though.
Yeah.
As these things go.
Yeah.
I think she pulled it off.
Yeah, it was pretty cheesy, but she
was
did.
cracking me up with her little, like, comments.
She did the best she could with what she had.
Yeah, that's
for sure.
definitely. I mean, that's not
For
an
sure.
easy thing to do, but
Yeah, I have a couple notes from her that were pretty funny. But, you know, she's like trying to get Amy's attention. Amy is trying to get Pam's. I know these are confusing
Pam's
names.
attention.
Sorry. Pam is the possessed cousin at this point, wearing the riding jacket, and she's not responding to any of Amy's comments, and she instead leads her into the woods directly to this graveyard in a clearing, which is super convenient because much of their family is buried in this graveyard that we didn't know about before.
I laughed. It was when Pam goes into the graveyard, and Amy goes, "Oh no!"
I'm like, yeah, same girl.
Oh, it was so funny. I was like,
no.
I get that. Funny enough.
And it feels, again, like they're just inserting something scary for scary's sake. Like a Ouija board, a graveyard. Ooh, scary stuff.
I mean, yeah. What are you going to do otherwise?
But they read off this gravestone.
Mm-hmm.
Going back 100 years, they read off this gravestone. As you are, so was I. As I am, so you will be.
It's very Haunted Mansion.
Right? Isn't it? Have you ever seen that on a gravestone?
No, I haven't.
I have,
really?
Actually. Yeah, when I saw it in this episode, I was like, oh my gosh. Because I don't remember. It was sometime during COVID. I was walking somewhere near here. I had gone to be not at my house, but also not with people.
Sure.
And this inscription was on a gravestone, and it was from 1915.
Wow.
But in that iteration of it, the full rhyme is, as you are, so was I, as I am, so you will be, prepare to follow me.
Oh.
That's the end of it.
Good grief.
I know.
Damn hell.
And so as soon as I saw it in this, I looked it up, because then I was like, oh my God, now I have to look it up, because I wanted to know where the quote was from. And I found this blog from 2010 that had a bunch of research about this quote.
Nice.
But apparently the best that they can find, it's attributed to Edward the Black Prince in Canterbury. His tomb is in Canterbury.
Okay.
And he died in 1376. So it originally did not have that prepare to follow me line. It was just the
original
rhyme as is.
Nice.
And so the variations that included that became more popular in 17th century Scotland, apparently. So the furthest back, I guess, that they can trace it is 1376. And then it grew in popularity throughout that area and then in Scotland. And the blog that I was reading, it talked about the fact that the full verse was used throughout the 19th and into the 20th century. And apparently the Federal Writers Project found that the verse, the most recent use of the verse was in Indiana between 1856 and 1914. So it was really common in that area at that time.
Wow.
Which I thought was crazy because what I saw was in Alabama, and it was from 1915. So it was right in that
that's wild.
time frame. Goodness. And I don't know that I've ever seen it again. Isn't that crazy?
I don't think I've seen it, but I'm going to go back to the graveyards that I frequented and I'm going to look for it.
Yeah, I figured if anybody would have, you would have seen it.
No, I don't think I've seen it.
It's a nice rhyme. But the prepare to follow me is a very it feels very Christian to come out of the 17th century. Yeah. It's
very Catholic.
Definitely, very Catholic, perpetuating an idea.
Yeah.
For sure. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so random tangent on that, but I thought it was interesting.
The craziest gravestone I've ever seen.
Do tell.
The only thing is science, God doesn't exist. There is nothing after life.
Whoa.
Yeah. They're basically there is no hope, by the way.
Yeah. On a gravestone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really badass.
It's wild. I'm gonna have to go take a picture of it and post it on the Instagram.
Oh yeah,
and then get sued by whoever owns it. But
I actually have a picture of this one that I found.
You're gonna post
that
it?
I took a picture of it.
Okay.
I posted it on my own Instagram story because I liked it when I found it.
Yeah.
Months ago.
That's wild.
And it came up in this episode. I was like, ooh, it's weird serendipity. Even if this is not the best rated episode or whatever, apparently. I don't know. It's weird.
Look, we're breaking down walls here. We're making people like this.
Yeah. We're trying anyway.
Yeah.
We're both just pause, well, maybe. We'll see.
Anyway.
So Pam and Amy are in this graveyard, and then they find Aunt Dora's grave. And Amy, who's really dense and is not catching on at this point even.
Because she's a woman.
Exactly. She's feminine. She keeps asking, what's happening to Pam. And then Pam, or at this point, Dora, begins to absently comment on Mon Petit Rouge.
Oh my God.
And so she just starts repeating that.
Mon Petit Rouge.
And then she picks up this piece of a bone, just in the graveyard. Then she says, the fox leaves me presents. So then she tells the story of Mon Petit Rouge, which is this fox that she was feeding near the time of her death. Obviously, it's not obvious if you don't know French, so apologies. I also don't know French, but I know enough to know that Mon Petit Rouge means my little red one.
My little red.
My little red. And so apparently Dora was feeding this fox each day through a cage, like bonding with the fox in the barn. And this was the type of, it wasn't expressly said, but it's implied, on this hunting ground, they were going to release this fox for the hounds to go after. Like, that's the fox and the hound, yada, yada.
That's the main thing with this episode that's relevant is, one, they're using the fox and the hound success.
Mm-hmm.
But that is a heartbreaking movie.
It is.
I mean, I can't watch it again. I can't do it.
I can't either, but I have many times in my childhood. I can't watch it now.
That's the darkest aspect of this episode.
Yes.
Is that they caged a fox. Not just went fox hunting for, wild foxes. They caged one, they fed it, they fattened it up. And this little girl who was involved in the family, this family tradition, she was just a child, befriended a fox.
This is 1963, it would be.
So she, took care of it, loved it. She named it Mon Petit Rouge. I mean, come on.
Yeah, she did name it, yeah.
So, I mean, it's this little love story between girl and fox, and that's so adorable. Not knowing, really not fully intelligently understanding. Maybe she did, but maybe not. That they were going to release the fox for the hounds and have.
No, I think
I
think she understood it, and they don't really say it explicitly in the episode either.
It's a tragedy.
It's kind of awful,
honestly.
But it was a common practice, I guess, at the time.
I would watch the movie where that happened.
Yeah,
like that's more. You never want to have a backstory that's more interesting than your present modern story.
Yeah, and it is that for
in this case, the backstory is way more interesting. I want to watch that movie where the girl befriends
the story
the fox,
of Dora. Yeah,
and how she ends up. Which we'll get to, what her fate is.
Yes.
Because her family
is engaging in this practice.
I don't approve of hunting. I hate hunting.
Yeah, same. Not into
we hate hunting here.
Sorry, but no thanks. Don't appreciate it.
We love animals. Don't kill them.
Please
they have more of a right to be here than we do.
They do, and it hurts my heart when I think about it.
Me too. Anyway, so that to me, that was like, okay, I get the point of this episode. That's pretty dark. I get it.
That's pretty dark.
I get it.
Yes.
So
yeah, she's like bonding with this fox. And then she even says, she's like, I didn't want the hounds to tear him apart, but they were ravenous and howling for the hunt, she says.
Also dark,
she explains,
they don't feed dogs for a couple days.
Yes, they withhold food from them to then make them more agile and desperate to eat.
They want to kill the fox, they can eat it.
Just for sport. It's all just for sport. And I'm just not a fan of it for sport. Not into it. She explains, now Pam as Dora is explaining to Amy that on the day of the hunt, like she opened the cage early and like let him run free, like around the barn.
Yep.
So the hounds could like hear him and smell him, and they were getting more and more like agitated. And she opened the barn door, and he like seemed to smile at her and ran away. And she wanted to ride after him, and the hounds are still going crazy. So she like saddles up Mirage, her horse, races after the fox. But at this point, something spooks the horse, and then he shied before a jump, and they both fell, like off a cliffside, basically, in a mountain or a hill. So Amy is like trying to make Pam get a grip, thinking it's still Pam, apparently, and being like, your imagination's run away with you. Like, you're Pam, you're not Dora.
Yeah.
This moment also made me laugh. But they're, in this graveyard, and at this moment, the camera like spins around, and there's this really ghostly looking man in overalls that's approaching them through the fog in the night. And he tells Dora that he was wondering when she'd get around to her chores. So we don't like this guy.
Yeah, jerk.
And she tells him that she's come to feed the hounds. He tells her that she should have fed them while they were alive. So it's all like, it's guilt for not doing your chores. And I know we're all dead now, but I'm still going to guilt you for not doing your chores, Dora.
Like a man.
Just like a man.
Just like a man.
And then they do this on purpose, I think, just to make the man creepy. They just had it, same thing. So they introduce a Ouija board to be spooky. They introduce a graveyard to be spooky. Yeah. And then they introduce a ghost man to be spooky. A ghostly
old man, the misogynistic asshole.
Misogynistic dude. To make him more scary, they give him this little monologue. And he says, I'll read it to you. He says, I was all torn up when you died, my little Dora. When I found them, they were nearly starved. They leapt at me. I couldn't keep them down. I got away, but my heart. And then he like holds his heart, like his heart's giving out. I guess implying that the dogs gave him a heart attack because she didn't feed them and then let the fox go and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But he's like gripping his heart and trying to be all scary, and he like reaches all dramatically for them.
Yeah.
And then he's not going anywhere. He's not coming after them, but he
Right.
just reaches his arm out and they scream and run away.
Like that.
And he after them is yelling, "Why didn't you feed the hounds?" Like all mad.
Yeah. One, being eaten alive by dogs is way more serious than...
That was too scary.
I got away.
It's not more serious than a heart attack because like the whole phrase is like as serious as a heart attack.
You're right. Nothing's more serious than a heart attack. But it was still like, I mean, I got away fine. But then I had a heart attack. It was like, okay. I mean, all right.
I think that was just because they didn't want to put the image of a man being mauled by dogs in the head of children.
Yeah, that's like Game of Thrones stuff.
Yeah. And Supernatural.
Yeah, Supernatural.
The scary thing that scared me as an adult was somebody being mauled by hellhounds. Granted, the hell aspect of it was the more scary to me still.
I definitely don't want to be attacked by a dog or a group of dogs. No, that sounds awful.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. Don't want to. Nope. Sounds like a terrible way to go either way.
Yeah.
But I do think it was funny that they I got away from the dogs, but my heart
gave out.
They just couldn't. That was too much, I guess. Kind of like you've been saying, like that was just too much. They had to dial it back a little bit. So a heart attack apparently is more palatable.
Sure.
But still, this dead man is talking to this dead girl about dying on her dead horse in the middle of the graveyard.
The dogs that died because
she didn't feed them. So I mean, how much are you really dialing back? At this
Yeah,
point?
really. Who are we helping here by skirting around the actual issue?
Yeah. Good grief. So Giles, the stable hand, this man, that's who he is. That's the name he was given. He is played by an actor named David Francis, and he comes back in Are You Afraid of the Dark 2 more times. He portrays Old Man Corcoran.
Yes, he does.
In The Tale of Old Man Corcoran.
Corcoran.
And then the third time he comes back, he plays Daniel Carpenter in The Tale of Station 109.1, which is one of my favorite episodes of Are You Afraid of the Dark. That is one that I 100% remember and stuck with me big time as a kid.
Nice.
So they run away from the ghost man that's just reaching out his arm. Apparently it's menacing. And they run into the barn to hide. And they're followed by all this growling and barking. And so Dora lights a lantern and she explains to Amy that Giles was a stable keeper. So they're like, oh, by the way, in case you want to know who that was, we'll give him a name now. Yeah. And then they realize that the door has been locked from the outside, so they're locked in the barn. So then we jump out to the Midnight Society, like you do, and Elvis is whining at this point, and then somebody's like, maybe he smells a fox, maybe he's scared, maybe he's hungry, and then Gary laughs, and Kristen gives him a treat. We just had to see the cute dog again, I guess. They needed to feature a dog in the episode about dogs. And then Kristen says maybe it was Giles, maybe it was another ghost from the family graveyard.
Right.
So just to dial up, we can't do what we want to do, but we're going to dial up the not really scary, spooky stuff as high as we can go.
Yeah, pretty much.
Maybe there's even another ghost. Who knows what's going on here at this graveyard.
Get it together, Kristen. What's your point?
Also, yeah, Kristen's the, storyteller. So if it was another ghost, I feel like she should tell us. But anyway, the girls are stuck in the barn now. And then Dora, is remembering that she needs to feed the hounds who are trapped. And then it's her fault. So there's all this guilt, very heavy, which I relate to and understand. So not about not feeding the hounds per se, but just guilt as an emotion.
Sure.
And then Amy, at this point, brain blast, Amy figures out that it's the jacket that's causing the whole problem.
You mean you've been wearing the jacket the whole time you've been wackadoo.
Wackadoo.
Take the jacket off.
Our feminine antagonist-ish person finally gets the clue.
So that's just unrealistic, and if you ask me,
yeah.
she would
man,
never figure it out.
Yeah, it would have taken much longer.
They should have had a man tell her what happened.
Who?
Giles.
Oh, he did. He.
That's true. Yeah. I guess we did have a man that kind of explained it.
Yeah, we had a man come in and tell him in case you don't get it.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. So she's trying to get her to take the jacket off, and then she explains that she's Dora's niece. She's like, okay, I'm your niece, and you're inside your niece's body, Pam's body. And the audience is like, oh, okay, I understand now because you told me.
Now we get it.
And then Dora's like, I don't have any nieces, and my brother and sister are only 10 years old.
Yeah.
So then you're like, oh, right, now she really is in the 60s. I guess we understand that fully now. And then she goes on about wanting to feed the hounds. And I mean, I guess the idea of somebody being out of their mind is a little bit scary, but it's not to me, it just didn't really, this presentation didn't really like do it for me.
Yeah.
But she goes about wanting to feed the hounds, and then there's this door that you can see where the hounds are being kept, or you can hear it at least. And she explains how they're starved before a hunt, like you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Amy's like, but what if they attack us? And then Dora's like, well, they must be fed. Like, but clearly they're not going to eat you. Like, you're just going to have a heart attack. So at this point, as I was rewatching the episode, I was kind of bummed because I was like, I expected this Hungry Hounds thing to go a little bit differently.
Yeah.
So I started looking up a little bit of lore around ghost dogs. There's a ton of stuff about ghost dogs everywhere, literally everywhere.
Yes.
Greek mythology, Harry Potter.
Black dogs.
Yeah. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Hound of the Baskervilles. Like, it's just all throughout.
It's a lot of stuff.
Ghostly, supernatural stuff. It's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
The lore around like a big black dog with glowing eyes is like probably the most prevalent in terms of that. Like if you start looking for ghost dog stuff.
Yeah.
And apparently it's often associated with electrical storms and crossroads, just like in that episode of Supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
Places of execution and ancient pathways.
Ooh.
That's what it said online, which I kind of liked.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And apparently, like, the lore comes from most likely like ancient Celtic or like Germanic parts of England and Ireland.
Yeah.
But there are thousands of like sightings and reportings from everywhere across the world. So not just in that area, it really expanded. Although there are a ton of different legends from that area specifically.
I would love to see something like that.
I know, like, and there are a lot of sightings, like a ton of like young children in their bedroom that see a big black dog.
In their room?
Yes. Or in their house, like crossing the hallway or something. And it's often attributed to sleep paralysis.
That would actually very much scare me if I saw a dog just like trot by.
Same.
God.
And what gets to me about that too, like even if people say, okay, it might be sleep paralysis or whatever, like there's so much similarity in all of those types of stories. The dog looks the same.
Yeah. It's
so
like,
why even if it is sleep paralysis, why are all children's brains, not all, but obviously all that have seen this, there are more than one. Why do they all see the same thing?
Yeah. I mean,
like,
that's sleep paralysis in general. Like, seeing like the Hat Man.
Yes.
And like shadow people and like seeing the same, that we all
I've seen shadow people in my room. We all see the same thing.
It's
and
very
it's like
scary.
It's just the way that is it the way that our brains are programmed? Like, is it the way that we
brain.
see the same thing? We keep mentioning like the uncanny valley where you look for a human or humanoid.
Yeah.
Like that's what humans do. But a dog? Question mark? Like, really?
Are we all that afraid of dogs?
Pretty wild. I wrote down a really creepy, like, British iteration of the lore. Is the Yeth Hound, like the Yell Hound, as they call it, of Devon. According to Brewer's Dictionary of Phrase and Fable, the Yeth Hound is a headless dog, said to be the spirit of an unbaptized child, which rambles through the woods at night, making wailing noises, and may have been apparently one inspiration for the ghost dog in The Hound of the Baskervilles.
Wow.
A headless dog, I'll say that again in case you need it one more time. Headless dog, the spirit of an unbaptized child.
It's very spooky.
Something about that, creepy.
Yeah.
Real creepy. And again, Catholic Church and early Christian, all of that influence is in a lot of the lore.
But if it's headless, how does it wail?
It's a spirit, so who knows? Don't understand the physics.
What are the rules?
We don't know the rules.
We should ask an expert.
And speaking of that, there are a lot of other cultures that have like traditions and theories about dogs and black dogs. In Latin America, black dogs are often like regarded as incarnations of the devil, or they're regarded as like shapeshifters, like throughout history. I'm not saying like in modern Latin America that's super common. I don't know that it is, but throughout history that has been mentioned. I didn't actually know this, but apparently in Islam, fully black dogs are also considered to be the devil. And then there are some ancient like Muslim texts that call for the killing of all black dogs.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's intense.
So it's buried deeply into like certain religions and types of culture. And I don't know why. Like, why?
That makes me believe it more.
Isn't that weird? I mean, same. Just because it's so widespread.
Anything that's
I don't believe
that's
it,
buried that deeply into an ancient religion like that.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
That adds credibility. I mean, say what you want about religion.
It's not necessarily credibility that it adds to me, but it adds like...
There's a level of superstition and fear
Superstition. It makes me wonder what happened.
What inspired
there is
that?
An origin here. I don't think that black dogs are the devil, but like, what is the origin?
Not your average black dog, but like...
But is there a demonic force?
If there is some spiritual entity that we can't explain or fathom that takes the appearance, takes on the apparition
Yeah.
of a dog, a black dog.
Yeah. It's just so deeply ingrained.
Black animals
Yes.
are traditionally considered quite evil.
Yeah. And I am not trying to suggest that people like practicing Muslims kill dogs. I'm not saying
no,
that.
no. That's not what we're saying.
Not going there.
That's not what we're saying.
Black animals are not bad. Consider adopting one.
I would love a black animal.
Same, truly. I mean, I've always heard that like it's harder for black animals to be adopted, and the internet kind of disagrees. It doesn't know whether that's true or not, because apparently there are statistics that agree and disagree, I'm sure, in different places and whatever.
I want a black cat and a black dog.
Same.
For sure.
One of my favorite YouTube personalities, I don't know, she has a black dog and a black cat,
Nice.
Luna and Myrtle.
Oh, perfect.
And they are the best.
Moaning Myrtle and Luna. Love
Exactly.
good.
Yes, they're all from Harry Potter.
Love Harry
They're
Potter.
beautiful, beautiful black animals, and don't discriminate. So back in the story world, to prevent Dora from like opening the kennel of these angry hunting dogs, Amy like shoves her into this animal pen and like locks her inside it in the barn.
Do what you gotta do.
And Dora's like, "Let me go! I have to feed the hounds." And then Amy, now getting upset, is like, "Not until you let Pam back in her own body." And Amy says she's gonna go for help, and like Dora insists that she doesn't know the way, and like she'll show her back if she's allowed to feed the hounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wondered to myself how many more times we could say the words "feed the hounds," and I wondered how many times I was gonna say the words "feed the hounds" when I was talking about this episode.
Hounds,
They said it a lot.
dogs, feed the hounds, feed the dogs.
Hounds, feed the dogs. Did you feed the dogs?
We're not done yet.
But Amy sasses back at her, and she's like, "What are you gonna feed them? Me?"
So they had to up the ante one more time.
Exactly.
Because clearly she's not going to feed her to the dog.
Buddy.
But I did appreciate the attempt.
Yeah, they were really driving it home. They want you to be really afraid of these dogs eating people, but they're never going to tell you about these dogs eating people.
They're
Spoiler
never going to
alert.
say that they do, but they want you to be afraid
They
of it.
want you to think that they will.
They were towing the line.
Yes.
Thank you, TJ McHale. You tried.
He did. I
You tried
understand.
hard.
They couldn't. I mean, it's a kid's horror show.
I could see him be like, dude, we need these dogs to eat people.
They gotta eat somebody.
Make him almost eaten, but he gets away. You don't get away from a pack of dogs. I'm sorry to tell you, but you don't get away.
Mm-mm, there's no getting away.
Good luck getting away from one dog.
Dora's like, "No, I'll feed them kibble," and Amy's like, "I'll get the kibble if you tell me where it is, and if you don't, we're both dog meat."
I love that moment. I laughed out loud again. She was like, "What are you going to feed him? Me?" And she's like, "No, kibble."
Kibble. You dumbass. No, I'm gonna feed him kibble like you feed dogs.
you thought I was going to feed you to the hell. No.
No,
I have
kibble.
a pocket full of kibble.
Yeah, that's what I got for you. Yeah, that was pretty funny. It was just the way it was put together. And honestly, I probably should acknowledge, like, it probably did occur because they kept having to make adjustments.
Yeah.
I want it to be the case. I wanted that to be why it feels disjointed and
Yeah.
why the spooks feel and scares feel very disjointed. I want it to be because they wanted so much more gore than they were allowed to have.
Yes.
And they had to settle
I
into
think they
this.
flew as close to the sun as they could possibly get.
So, in that vein, Amy goes looking for the kibble. And while she's doing this, Dora, who apparently is super resourceful and like MacGyver spy level,
Ooh.
uses her belt, like takes off her belt and like flings it over and uses it to open the latch of the pen and like get herself free.
Also, a giant gap that she could just climb up and over.
Yeah, apparently. I mean, I get it. I liked to MacGyver things as a kid too.
Secret
I was very into that
agent
idea.
woman.
I wanted to be a secret agent. So any adventure type story where they're doing all these,
Mhm. Yeah, real man stuff.
all the man stuff where you're
Yeah.
figuring out a problem and solving it with your hands.
Yeah, I was playing
Yeah.
video games.
Well, this would have happened in a video game. It felt kind of like a video game.
Kind of, yeah.
Scene,
Like Escape
weirdly.
Room.
Like a Nancy Drew. This is what
Ooh,
it felt like.
yeah.
If you needed to know, that is 100% what the scene feels like. It's like a Nancy Drew PC game. One of the less difficult, but yes.
Yeah.
Loved those games. I beat the majority of those games, but they are fantastic. Still fantastic. Apparently there are people that still play them to this day.
I believe
and,
that,
They
yeah.
still release them. Which is pretty great.
Sure.
But this is not a Nancy Drew video game. This is Are You Afraid of the Dark? And
Ooh,
in this episode,
good save.
yeah, I'm back to it. Segued right around that. So Amy manages to find like this big bag of kibble and she's like dragging it back. And then when she comes back into the room, Dora's like already headed for the door to let the hounds free. So in this like slow motion moment, the hounds get loose and Amy spills the kibble And then she jumps up on top of these hay bales, and the dogs get out. So they come at her, and she's like kicking at the dogs, and they don't really look very vicious once you actually see them. It's the same thing of like, I mean, as we kind of have discussed a couple times, like showing us your monster.
Yeah, they're so adorable.
Don't get me wrong, I've seen dogs look vicious, and I've been afraid of dogs at certain points in my life, but as a rule, I'm not. Because these dogs especially don't look very mean at all. They look very sweet. And honestly, in the moment, myself, I was a little more annoyed that she was like kicking at them.
Yeah.
I was like, don't kick her head. Like, don't kick
don't
that dog.
hurt those puppies.
I don't think she actually kicked the dog, but.
No, she was just trying to keep the distance. But
exactly.
Yeah,
and I mean, I get it.
I noticed the same thing. I was like, release the sweet puppies.
Yeah, attack the puppies.
They want to lick your face.
Yeah. They want you to think that they're like nipping at her feet.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the hero appears. A fox makes itself known, like scampers through, and then runs out the door to save her. Oh my gosh! So, like just throwing her life down, throwing his life down, throwing its life down for the girls. And the hounds like follow the fox out the door, and they're like, "Mon petit rouge, he saved us, which is so precious and sad. Like, bless that little fox, and I hope you get away. But you're all ghosties, so I don't know why I'm worried. So at this point, Pam is nowhere to be found, and Amy's like looking around the barn, and then she walks out the door to see Dora / Pam mounted on this white horse.
God, so cheesy.
And really cheesy moment of like, I guess Dora has fulfilled her purpose now, and she's happily horseback riding in the afterlife.
She's like a hell horse. Oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah, Pam finally gets to ride the horse.
Right. The dream comes true.
Pun intended, like without restraints or reins or anything, just totally like
bareback?
Bareback.
That's what they call it.
Bareback.
I don't think she was though. I think there was always a lot of riding gear involved. This helmet and the crop and everything.
That was a stunt double.
Probably.
That wasn't Pam.
Because horses are dangerous, you know.
Especially when you honk your horn at them.
So they trot off screen, and then Amy like rushes after them through the woods, and they run through the woods and back up the magic staircase, back into the attic. Just like a dream ending. And then suddenly it's daytime, and Pam just like emerges from the rack of clothing in the closet, which is apparently less weird than a staircase in the woods. So she bops right on out of the clothing rack, and then she's like sniffling and allergies and dust, etc. Amy says, "Let's go downstairs. This place is haunted." Which that might have made me laugh more than anything else. I think that got me.
You think?
I was like, this place might be haunted. Like, Are You Afraid of the Dark doesn't really do it like that normally. I feel like that's not the way that it's normally handled.
This was a unique episode. Maybe they were, I mean, this is still season 1. They're still figuring things out. And
it's true. Yeah.
For all we know, this is one of the first written episodes.
Sure. Yeah, it very well could have been.
There's no telling.
We don't know.
And they could have just been like guessing a whole bunch throughout this whole first season.
What's going to be scary? What can we get away with?
And they just did it right the first 3 or 4 times. Right. And now they're like, well, let's try something different.
Yeah.
And it just didn't quite work.
No.
Because they do continue to have some less than scary episodes.
Yeah.
But, you know, maybe they're scary to some people.
Right. And maybe this one is too. Tell us if you were scared. I'd love to know.
Because
Tell me why.
Everybody's
has
their
scared
own...
of different things.
Yeah.
Different experiences. If you had an experience where a dog, like you're scared of dogs in real life, this might have been really a frightening idea to you.
If you've been attacked by a dog, this is traumatizing.
It's trauma.
100%.
Yeah. Don't mean to belittle that. I've never been attacked by a dog.
When I was in college, so I studied creative writing and literature and all that, but we read a novel for a class that was a ghost story, also with an unreliable narrator. A great, great novel called The Little Stranger. I recommend it highly. It freaked me out.
Okay, wow.
I loved this book. But okay, this is my disclaimer. I bought into the story.
Yes.
Like I told myself, hey, this is going to be good. Enjoy this.
Yeah.
This is for your college class. This is going to make you a better writer. This is going to teach you a lot about writing about ghost stories and everything. So I like set the tone, the mood. I read it at night. Like I was prepared to be spooked.
Okay.
When you prepare yourself for that, you can
in any scenario.
It opens you up.
You spook yourself.
Yeah, you can scare yourself. So I thoroughly enjoyed this novel. Like it gave me chill bumps to read it. But in class, I was like, y'all, this book's good. And it's like freaking me out. And people were like, ew, really? It's not scary at all. It's stupid.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh, are you kidding me? It's so good.
Aw.
Anyway, all that to say, your personal experience sets your brand of horror.
Yes.
It establishes your fear, what you're afraid of. Everybody has their own distinct type of brand of horror
that's right.
gets to them or that they enjoy.
Yep. There are plenty of things that scare me that don't scare other people. I mean,
and I think you and I subscribe to the same kind of fear.
Yeah, very often. Ours do overlap. Our
Yeah.
Venn diagrams are.
Yeah, we're very much right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And right in the middle is just Mike Flanagan.
That's right. He's just like
He's
sweet spot.
the speckle.
Yes.
But anyway, so yeah, all that to say, we don't, we're making fun of this episode, but it is the lowest rated episode.
And it's not just because of the scare factor, it's also the way that it is put together.
It's kind of poorly put together.
It feels really, what's the word that I want? You probably have one. You have a mouthful. It's not pedestrian, that's not the word that I want, but it's like...
My takeaway...
It's not even disjointed, it's just...
My takeaway from this...
Well, before we get to a takeaway...
Okay, well, I was going to yeah.
Okay, well, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
We just have one more moment to like put a pin in it, put a bow on it.
Then we'll do final reflections.
And then we can do some reflections.
We'll finish up. Go ahead.
Yes. So obviously Amy says this place is haunted. And then Pam's like, well, I thought you didn't believe in ghosts. Come on, I gotta go feed the dogs.
Yeah.
And then Amy says
one more time.
We gotta just
how many times did we say it?
As many as possible. So gotta go feed the dogs. And then emphasis on the S. And then Amy says
plural.
What dogs? You only have one. And then Pam says, that's what I said. Dog. And then we have like a did not did two, man.
I kind of liked it though. They do it like 4 times.
They really do. Like they really indulge in this. And then Pam's like, who cares what I've said? What's wrong with you? And then Amy's like, nothing, I'm fine. So Pam then like heads downstairs to feed Rexy. Apparently that's the name of the dog is Rexy.
Oh, we just now learned the name of the dog?
Yes, we didn't know the name of the dog before, but we learned that it is Rexy. Like I assume Rexy.
Rexy.
And Amy, alone now in the attic, reaches into her pocket, pulls out a handful of kibble, and says, I think I have just the thing.
It's like 4 kernels of kibble.
Yeah.
It's like nothing.
But it's also just like they needed that to show you that it was real somehow, or they wanted I don't know.
That's just
they just really overdid it.
They really
oversold.
Overdid this one.
So then, she's like, I have just a thing, walks out the door. And in my mind, I'm like, cool, 30-year-old kibble. That's what the dogs want. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Stale.
Good idea. So then we're back at the campfire at the Midnight Society.
Oh, so funny.
And Kristen says that Pam tried one more time to convince her mom to let her take riding lessons, and it finally worked because Pam's mom, in literal quotes, this is what is said, Pam's mom was no longer haunted by her sister, Dora, and Dora's ghost was no longer tormented by the howling of the hungry hounds.
Yep.
They just, little bow, tied it right on up.
Hungry hounds.
Except for Giles. That didn't get tied up at all. This man died of a heart attack on the property, but whatever.
No, forget that guy.
Yeah, who cares?
Natural causes, heart attack.
Gary declares the meeting closed, and he quips like, you shouldn't forget to feed your dog, or they might have a bone to pick with you.
Love Gary. God bless Gary. God.
Another hashtag, God bless Gary.
God bless
Gary. That is a true thing that I say often.
We'll make a movie, and we will cast Ross Hull as the lead.
Oh, that would be just my dream.
How about that?
True. Wow.
He'd be like, well, I'm a weatherman, but okay.
But hey, that doesn't mean he can't be in a movie. We'll figure it out. We'll incentivize him somehow.
I feel like I just put a seed in your brain that you're still
I'm
processing.
Maybe he still acts.
I just threw you off your groove. You're like,
yeah, I was still.
You think it's possible?
I was still over here like, maybe.
Do you think he likes me?
Do you think he would like me as a director?
Do you think we'd be friends?
So then obviously everybody rolls their eyes at this joke, Eric and Kiki, and I'm really grateful because I didn't have to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, some final thoughts. Did you want to go into what you're about to say? Your reflection you were going to say? Did I interrupt you and throw off your groove now?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, good.
You say what you want.
Okay.
Say what you want.
Well, what I had written is that I like the idea of like the generational curse.
Oh, of course.
Like, I like the idea of exploring that. I think that there's a lot to that, both in reality and in story. I think it's not always a ghost person, but like there are many curses generationally on people, ideas that cause suffering, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, yeah.
And not just ideas, but like real actual suffering in many cultures and peoples. But
yeah,
this was a pretty elementary way to like explore that. But I do feel like it's interesting to like reflect on our ancestors and families and like what have they carried down that we may not even know about. Yeah, like, and it made me think of like it's like a very, very literal example. I may have told you before, Christian, but my great grandmother on my dad's side, I believe, was killed in a car accident, and like several of her daughters, like my dad's mom, I think, and aunts, like all had lasting effects from this. I may be getting it totally wrong. My dad will correct me. I think it was their actual mom and not their stepmother. I think that their stepmother was the one that I would have known.
Gotcha. I don't think I knew that.
Yeah. And I have like deep-seated fear of car accidents.
Yeah, we've always like... Yeah.
Both you and I do.
Yeah.
But that was, kind of in my family, and the trauma was somewhat passed down. And like, I think one of the aunts, she's passed away since then, but one of the aunts, I think, that was actually in the accident, she never drove again.
Yeah.
So when I was younger, like this older, it's my dad's aunt, right? So it's my great aunt.
Yeah.
She wouldn't drive anywhere. So like they would have to pick her up for functions or whatever, et cetera, whatever was going on. And her kids would have to take her places and stuff. And as a kid, I just knew like Aunt Sharon doesn't drive, but it never clicked for me until much later in life when I was like, that's why Aunt Sharon doesn't drive, is because she was in the car wreck. At least that's what I have put together on my own at this point.
Sure.
So all that stuff's scary. There's lots of big, scary generational curse stuff that could be explored. And I'm sure we'll discuss more things like that in other episodes. But what did you give this, or what would you give this as a scare rating?
Very low. I mean,
I
don't want to be
give me
just
a number.
To be on the safe side, I'll give it a 2.
Okay.
Because there might be something else that just didn't resonate.
Yes.
I'm sure there will be.
I also gave it a 2.
Okay, good.
So yeah, we're right there in that pocket of like
the concept, because I love a graveyard.
Same. That was exactly my reasoning.
The idea that you could just see a ghost and somebody, I'm sure as a kid that would have at least given me hesitation.
Yeah.
On some level.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I gave it a 2 because I don't want to say 1. I don't want to start off.
Yeah, it's hard to like give something a 1 so early in our exploration.
Because I mean,
because we'll continue rating stuff. I'm sure, even if once we begin to cover things other than Are You Afraid of the Dark, like I'm sure we'll be rating stuff. So it's tough to say.
The takeaway I was going to say earlier was like, this one's hard to relate to.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. Yeah.
It's
really specific. It's very...
Yeah. And it works for Kristen's character. I hate to say it in that I feel like she comes from privilege and money.
The character or...
Yeah, no, just Kristen as the character. The fictional,
Just confirming, yeah.
She has to have experience like riding horses.
Mm-hmm.
So she's that kind of like country, kind of well off. We have a stable, we have horses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm familiar with this kind of story. This kind of thing scares me. Like me personally as Kristen.
A horse riding accident.
A horse riding accident is scary to me. That's not relatable to a lot of people.
Right.
That's very specific to people who...
As a child, I would say that probably...
Ride horses.
I did ride horses. I did not have horses.
You rode horses?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I took horseback riding lessons from it was probably only like a year or maybe a year and a half when I was like 8 to 9 or 9 to 10, something like that.
Yeah.
I had all like my tack, my crop, my helmet and boots and everything. Yeah.
That's cool. You're so small as an
while.
Adult. I can't imagine you as a small child.
That's
on
I
a
think
big
mostly
horse.
why I didn't end up sticking with it. Like it was really fun, and I still remember like some of the horses. The horse that I really loved, he was kind of a problem to a lot of people. He wasn't like the worst.
That sounds about right.
Worst horse that they had, like in terms of temperament, but he was not the nicest either.
Yeah.
Which that's exactly who I gravitated to.
That fits you.
And his name was Sebastian. Exactly. So I still think of Sebastian.
Oh, Sebastian.
I'm sure he's no longer with us now, but...
Well,
He was my favorite horse. And then the really docile horse that they put everybody on at first, his name was Little Joe.
Little Joe.
He was not little. He was the biggest one, but he was the nicest.
Yeah, was his name
probably.
Tiny?
Yeah, Little Joe. They were fun. All that to say, like, the horse riding accident wouldn't necessarily be scary to me now because I haven't been on a horse in 12, 13 years.
Yeah.
But at the time, very relevant to my life.
I get that.
Very, being in these horseback riding lessons, I was with one of my best friends at the time. She was like 5 years older than me, and she and I were taking these lessons together. Mm-hmm. And she actually did fall off. And I think she broke her arm, if I'm not mistaken, or her leg. So in these lessons, she did fall off and break her leg or her arm. I really can't remember. I feel bad. Sorry, Camille. But my parents, I think I came to a decision with them as this was happening that a lot of we were moving really quickly through a lot of the lessons, and I was like already cantering really early on, like maybe 3 months in. I don't know if that's actually fast or slow. I really have no idea. Yeah. But it felt fast to us for me being the size that I was. Yeah. That's like one step down from galloping. Like there's like trotting and then cantering and then galloping, whatever.
Gotcha.
And so I was already doing that, and it was very scary. It's fast, and like you're really high up at that age, you know, you're really high up on an animal.
That's high now. I've been on a horse. It's scary.
Yeah.
So totally out of control. Like no control.
Yeah, it was just a feeling of being, out of control, not knowing.
Scares me.
And I was put on that horse that had kind of an attitude problem, who I loved, just deeply loved this horse. But yeah.
He's like, I don't want to go in circles.
Yeah, I stopped horse riding after about a year.
Yeah. Wow.
But it was fun. Sorry, random tangent about my life. Now you're learning more things about me.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I learned something new today.
There you go.
It's amazing. I've known you for, what, 6 years now? It's a first.
Yeah, and you had no idea.
I had no idea you ever been on a horse. That's awesome.
Yep, I loved it.
Well then maybe I'm way off. Maybe it's more relatable to ride horses. And
I was gonna say that too. Like, even though like I don't think that it's necessarily everybody's cup of tea or super common, like it is a thing that people do at camp or like different. Yeah. It's not only accessible to wealthy people. Like you may come across a horse as a child. Yeah, a horse ride isn't that far off. And then there was always like I don't even know, like American Girl, like had a lot of stuff which I loved. Like that was my history in school, literally.
American Girl dolls.
Very small private school. When I was in school, that was our history curriculum, was reading American Girl. Phenomenal. Wow. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff around horseback riding and horses, and it was just in the like horse girls. I was not necessarily a horse girl, right? But there is a reason that stereotype exists, and it comes, I feel like, very much from not just the 90s, but the horse girls were alive and well in the 90s. Mad respect to the horse girls.
Mad respect. So. Yeah, I went to school with a horse girl. Just the one, though.
Just one? Okay. No, I knew way more than one.
Just one. That's it.
Still do, but they're great.
She's very nice.
Yeah, so I also gave it a 2, mostly because I like don't want to be torn limb from limbs by hunting dogs.
But they didn't, though.
But they didn't. So it's
if they had, I would have given this like a 4.
Yeah, true. Same. Yeah, I think that would have upped the ante.
If he'd been like, I was eaten alive by the hound dogs.
Yeah, if he was like bloody and scratches or something.
That would have given me pause, for sure.
Same, which I think is probably why they couldn't do it. But you know what was scary?
What's that?
The ghost dogs that I was looking up, the Hound and all that stuff. Don't look that up in the dark, because that's really scary.
If you are predisposed to a fear of dogs, don't look it up at night.
Highly don't recommend that.
Or do, if you like to be afraid. Go for it.
Yeah.
Why not?
There are some really, really scary like illustrations of ghost dogs. So
yeah, with this one, I broke down the logistics of how this would have happened. And I'm just kind of like, all right, well, she released the fox as a hunting game. Right. And then the whole thing was the guilt trip of like, you should have fed the dogs. Mm-hmm. How? By letting them have the fox?
By letting them have the fox, I think is but then she's like, no, kibble. So.
But kibble.
I don't know.
But also, she's, 14. Why is it her responsibility to feed your 7 hound dogs?
That was her chore.
If he's what was he? The groundskeeper or the like
stable hand?
It's his job to feed the dogs.
You would think so. Yeah, why is that her chore and not his
chore?
Also,
if they're that hungry and ravenous, and he knew that, why would he release the dogs without feeding them?
Yeah.
I'm confused by all of this.
Very confusing.
Can someone explain this to me?
Please.
I don't really know. Because she let go of the one fox that might feed 1, maybe 2 dogs at most.
And I mean, she died chasing the fox. Yeah. You know, it's like...
The dogs didn't eat her alive.
The unfinished business wasn't with the dogs, it was with the fox.
If she'd let the fox go... and then was eaten alive by the dogs because the fox got away, that would have been a good story.
Yeah, agreed. There are some little modifications they could have made. And that's another reason why I just have to wonder if it wasn't totally different and they had to go back to the drawing board on it because it didn't test well or the network said no.
I'd love to get my hands on like an original first draft script of this.
Yeah.
Because I bet you the first draft was way more brutal than this like 4th or 5th draft.
Agreed.
I can almost guarantee that.
Wow. Well, yeah, that's the episode. That's the tale of the Hungry Hounds.
That's the tale of the Hungry Hounds. They are some hungry
Let me tell you.
Hounds. Let me tell you.
They're hungry, if nothing else.
They like kibble. They like kibble and fox. They don't love stable man.
No, but they didn't eat him.
They let him go. And you thought we'd have nothing to talk about.
I know. Wow, we really did the thing.
We did it.
Should we say thanks for listening?
We should.
Thanks for listening to us.
Thanks for listening.
Appreciate you so much. Go click our buttons.
Click clickety-clackety.
All that stuff. Follow us on all the places.
Yeah, do the thing.
We hope you have pleasant dreams. Not haunted by ghost dogs or anything else.
Absolutely. Dream of ghosts. Dream of dogs. Life's hard, so you gotta dream of...
Dream big.
Big dreams. Have big nightmares.
Big dogs. Have big nightmares. Wow. Hashtag big nightmares.
Big nightmares. I'm into it. All right, well, until next time.
Until next time. That was pretty dark.
Keep it spooky.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to That's Pretty Dark, written and produced by Christian Baxter Mott and Kaylin Andrews.
Our music is composed by Jonathan Simmons, and our art is provided by Paige Garland at Power Girl Illustration.
Join the collective nostalgia and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at That's Pretty Dark Podcast.
Share your experiences and let us know what shows, films, or villains still haunt you from childhood at that'sprettydarkpodcast@gmail.com. Remember, you're never really alone.
So, until next time, sweet dreams, everyone.